Sherwin, thanks very much indeed. You're absolutely right. Joburg Mayor Dada Morero has been spotted on the floor of the media center. That's where we still are. It's a hive of activity. In fact, I might appear on a shot of one of our international partners who are also here, but we'll make it work. Dada Morero, kind enough to be on standby with us here on the SABC News channel. Mr. Mayor, thanks for your time. Great to catch up with you. Let me just start by getting a sense of where your mind is at. I mean, so much hinged on pulling this off. The summit so far, I think many people will agree, has gone tremendously well. And the city looks visibly better than it did, dare I say, 3 months ago. As the person who I imagine presided over a lot of these changes, help us understand what it's taken to try pull something like this off.
Well, it took, in essence, commitment and sacrifice from our departments and entities. We took a view already in November last year that we're going to reclaim Johannesburg, and in fact the G20 presented also an opportunity to push, and that's what exactly we did, and we allowed our officials and entities, our workforce to go all out and ensure that what we said in November in terms of reclaiming the city does happen even beyond the G20, ensure that traffic signals are working, potholes are closed, resurfacing does happen. In all interventions in terms of service delivery do happen, and that's where we are.
And what's your response to people who would ask the question about why it took so long? Why did it take the G20?
Well, you'd remember I was elected in November. In August last year, in November, I went into a Lekgotla with the mayoral committee and administrators, and in May, I did the state of the city, and in June, we availed a budget. All these things require a budget. 2nd of October, we went full force into the street through what we call a high-impact service delivery program led by the executive mayor, and that's where we are. And we're continuing the program even beyond the G20. And I've said to some journalists, check us on Tuesday if we're on the ground. If on Tuesday we're not on the ground, the narrative that says it's about the G20, then it will be true. But if we are there on the ground, then it means your narrative, it's not true, because we'll be on the ground throughout the month of November and December. We'll continue to improve the quality of services.
I'm sure you'll agree that the people who are doubtful have good reason. I mean, the city has been in a state of squalor, quite frankly, for a very long time. And I think in some respects, some South Africans are hoping for just that acknowledgement that it has taken a long time to get us here.
Yes, true, because the trust deficit between communities and government, in particular local government, was at its lowest, and we are now improving on it. We have done the IDP, we engaged with them through the IDP sessions, and part of the issues that they raised was exactly that we don't believe anymore that you can do the things that you said you're doing. Now we have turned the corner, and communities are beginning to see the confidence. The only thing they are worried about is will we be able to sustain, and that's what we are going to be doing, to sustain so that we improve the trust between ourselves and our communities, confidence of our communities that indeed government is doing something in turning around the city.
How much of this has to do with the fact that we're going to the local government elections in a year?
Well, we have not as yet declared local government. Even my party that I belong to, only around June, that's when we'll be declaring an election campaign. So it has less to do about an election. It has more to do about the work that the city must be doing. And that's what we are pushing.
Let's shift into the substance of what's been discussed in some part here at this summit, and that's got to do with inequality. Johannesburg, I think, stands out as one of those cities where the inequalities are very clear to see. We have so many examples: Dainfern and Diepkloof, Alexander and Soweto, those who have and those who don't, living side by side. It's a long-standing issue for the city, and I wonder what your plan is, given some of the discussions that have taken place here, to try and resolve stuff like that.
Well, we've got a responsibility as local government, two main issues. Local economic development is our responsibility to ensure, one, we create an environment in which business can thrive, the cost of business is also reduced, and create economic activity for our people. Secondly, we have a responsibility to improve the quality of life of our citizens. Where, one, it will be through transport interventions to ensure that we provide affordable, accessible, and efficient transport system.
What are some of the programs in the pipeline just for transport?
No, we're on the right track with the BRT, which is our intervention as the city. It's affordable, it's efficient. We have intervened there. I think last month we were launching the 1C, which is the Louis Botha corridor, which allows the communities in Alexander and that part of Johannesburg to have a much easier, efficient, and affordable transport system.
I live very close. Sorry to interrupt you. I live very close to Alexander, Mayor. I know exactly which terminal you're talking about. It's been standing for years.
It's operational since the 1st of November.
The one on Louis Botha?
Yes. It's operational since the 1st of November. So that route is operational. We have provided about 60 buses to the Alexander Bus Company so that they're operational. Remember last month there was a shooting and a chairperson of one of the association was killed, which delayed some of the operations, but it's operational since 1st of November.
I invite you, Mayor. You and I can go there after the G20. I can assure you, I haven't seen a bus there at any moment. But okay, I'll take your word for it. Perhaps the buses started this morning when I was here. But very well. Let me ask you another question about where we find ourselves. It's been raining heavily in parts of the city, and you know a long-standing concern has been about the drainage system in different parts of the city as well. So many drains in critical positions that simply don't work. How much attention is that getting from your office?
Well, we give attention to our stormwater, but there's a bigger concern. In some of the areas, stormwaters have now been turned into dumping sites where people just dump in, which creates a problem. From time to time, we must come and clean. That's one problem that we experience. Two, you have developments that were done. However, the stormwater was not done properly. And through some forms of corruption and all that stuff, those plans and the sign-offs were done when in fact they should not have been done, because stormwater is one of the critical areas that the developers should comply. Now you find some townships were built 20, 30 years ago. Those companies are no longer there. They've either liquidated. Now we've invested into a stormwater program. We're doing it in Protea Glen, which is one of our concerns. We're doing it in Orange Farm, because some of these areas don't have at all. There's no network, so we have to do that. In other areas, it's really to clean and to take out the dirt and try and see how best we can protect them from being dumping sites. And that's what JRA has been doing through our high-impact service delivery program to try and unlock all our stormwater drainages. All right,
Mr. Mayor, thanks very much indeed. I can see a few of my colleagues waiting to grab you. I really do appreciate the time. That is the Mayor of Johannesburg, Dada Morero. And as I step out of shot, you can see he's being swamped by our international colleagues who, of course, would like to also get a word with him. Look, I think there's an important concession that the mayor made there, that there is a trust deficit. Whilst on the one hand, people are very glad, and these are residents of the city, very glad to see the visible improvement in the state of this metro, there are skeptics who are worried that this is just for show and not necessarily something that can be sustained. I suppose, as the cliche goes, time will tell. We'll keep a close eye on those developments for you as we keep watching this historic summit in the south of Johannesburg at the Nasrec Expo Center. Let's take a quick break. Our coverage in just a moment.